Hey everyone, Jeremy here. It is Tuesday night and we're going to create some art. It's going to be awesome. It is Tuesday night. I'm actually on time this time. Like a lot of times I had to miss a few days. But I am here and we're going to create something that I think is kind of cool. I haven't worked with like just regular pen and pencil, like not pen and pencil, sorry, graphite pencils in like a long time. So I thought I'd just do a simple drawing using graphite pencils. Hopefully that's cool with you guys because that's kind of what I want to do. And for the subject matter, I thought it'd be kind of fun to do like kind of a anamorphic mouse, kind of like a steampunk mouse wearing like a little outfit. I just thought it'd be kind of fun. Hopefully you guys think so as well. Before we get started, a little house cleaning. I just wanted to let you guys know about a GoFundMe that a friend of mine, Ben and Ashley, you guys know them from the Treasure Warriors. A lot of people, a lot of you guys know who they are. Anyway, their cat, it has like severe diabetes and is like really struggling. And they took him to the vet, and the bills are like astronomical. So they were asking for some help, like covering those costs. If you have like $5 laying around, cool. If you don't, hey, I'm just like letting you guys know. So hopefully, some folks out there, I'll just drop the link in the chat. Again, help out if you can. If you can't, don't worry about it. I'm gonna move on and start this drawing. So yeah, so like again, like I said, it's been a while since I've used like pencil to do any kind of pictures. Like it has been a while, so I just thought I'd do that and like have some fun with it. So we're not doing anything special tonight. It's going to be kind of like just a low-key, relaxing night. Hopefully everybody's cool with that. Yeah, as you can see, I really didn't put a lot of thought into this. I'm a little unprepared, but that's okay. As you can see, I kind of sketched out where the mouse is going to be. But I think this is going to look cool when it's done. I kind of had like an adventuring mouse in mind for a little while now, and I just haven't gotten around to it. If this really works out well, I think I might try it in color, but I thought this would be a fun one just to like kind of every now and then you want to kind of like revisit some of the skill sets that you haven't used in a while, just so that you don't forget how to do it. And this is always working with pencil, I think, is always a good opportunity to like work on and also be conscious of like working with like shadows and values and things like that. Um, a lot of times when I'm working with pastels or watercolor or something, I'm not exactly able to pull off some of those values that I'd like to be able to. But with pencils and stuff, I really feel like I can do that because I have a lot more experience with pencil. Everybody grew up drawing with pencils and stuff. I'm no different. So I kind of know how to make things work a little bit. As you can see, so I'm starting, like you can barely see this, I'm sure, but I'm starting with like a really light pencil. The thing about these pencils is that they come in like different softnesses. And yeah, low key and relaxing really does work, Tom. So these pencils come in different like softnesses. The harder ones create like lighter um, marks, which is really good for like kind of getting in a base layer of shadow. I think this guy's gonna be kind of cute. I didn't know exactly how I wanted the adventuring mouse to look, but I came up with this concept of him wearing like a little hat. He's got steampunk kind of goggles on and stuff, and he's just out there. He's going to explore the world. Maybe I'll like work with that storyline a little bit more in the future, but anyway, I think it'd be kind of fun. So I'm going to use like a blending stump to kind of like get some of this stuff just kind of smoothed out. But yeah, so like I mentioned, Ben and Ashley's GoFundMe. I mean, the vet bills, it looked like they were like $5,000, $6,000, something like that. It's crazy. And I think that's a good opportunity to just talk about vet bills in general and how they're kind of like through the roof. Like, what's up with that? Like, I understand inflation and stuff, but like, I have taken, I have never spent more than I don't know, a couple of $100 or anything on like any of my pets. It's just kind of crazy that vet bills have gotten up to like several $1,000s. I mean, it's almost as much as like um like going to a doctor as a human. It's like what they need to offer like insurance or something for pets almost that is like on the same tier as human beings because that's just crazy. I mean, I love my pets and stuff, and I would do anything for them. But like, if the vet came and said, "Oh, this is going to cost a couple of $1,000," and like, there's no like assuredness of recovery and stuff. That's a tough pill to swallow, you know. Hey, Kinsley, how's it going? Oh, shout out to the people in the room. Sorry, I'm a little bit flustered today. As you can tell, I am ill prepared. I just popped in, and I'm like, oh, I got to do this drawing. And so like, let's just hop on air. I wasn't ready, but anyway, shout out to the people in the room. We got Kid in the house. We got Because of Can. We got Tom. And we got Kinsley, which is awesome. That's enough for a party for sure. But yeah, the prices of the vets are just like crazy. It's ridiculous. And Ben and Ashley, they're decent people. Decent people. They're nice people. So I like them. They're like, I don't always agree with everything that they say and stuff, but they sure are funny. Especially Ben. Ben's very funny. I clean my own dog's teeth to save money. Hey, you got any tips on that? Because Bear needs some teeth cleaning, and I was considering cleaning her teeth myself too. So if you got any tips on how to do that, I would love. Like I think I've got like doggy toothbrushes. Um, so, but I don't know for sure. Somebody gave them to me. I'm not sure if they're gonna really work and stuff. But the question is, I guess, like how do you how do you make the dog not freak out? That's the biggest question. Because Bear is scared of everything. I feel bad for her because like every time I like even drop like a something on the floor or something, she freaks out. Like I don't know why she's so afraid. Like nothing bad's ever happened to her in her entire life. She's been like very sheltered. Um, Guinness has seen more of the world than Bear has. Like Guinness has been on a trip with me all the way up to Maine. Bear hasn't gone anywhere, done anything. I don't know why she's so afraid of the world. Tree flavored toothpaste. There's an idea. Like bacon flavored toothpaste. Like if there's not bacon flavored toothpaste, I feel like there should be. I mean, I would use bacon flavored toothpaste myself. There probably is. It's the internet. Everything's out there. If somebody has thought of it, it exists. I'm gonna move these out of the way a little bit. I think this guy's gonna look cute when he's all done. We'll need a name for him. All right, I'm going to go ahead and use my very black pencil. So this is a 9B. This is about as dark as it gets for me. I don't know if there's ones that go darker or not, but the idea is I'm not putting down very much pressure at all, and it's still coming out very dark. That's the benefit of these really soft pencils. Yeah, I just remembered a reason why I don't do a lot of like graphite pencil drawings on this show. It's because it's so reflective. That's a big drawback for graphite pencils for me, but that's okay. Oh, you were a dental assistant. Okay. All right, so you've got actual like skills and stuff. So, I don't know. Do you feel like it's something that anybody could do, like clean their dog's teeth, or I mean, her teeth aren't that bad, but they are. They're something that I'll probably have to have like a vet clean at some point. And I'm still like paying off. Well, I'm not paying off. It's paid off, but I'm still recovering from taking Guinness to the vet. And like I said, it's not that cheap. And here in Kentucky, it's a little bit cheaper than other places, I can tell. But if your dog or cat or loved one has any kind of like serious problems, it adds up quick, you know? It's crazy. I brush their teeth every other night though. Just doing steps must be a YouTube video on it. Yeah, there you go. I'll look up a YouTube video on it. I will say those dental chew bone thingies, I know from experience they don't really work. Yeah, all they do is like make my dog fat. My my dogs do like eating those biscuits and stuff, but they just eat them as treats. They don't they don't really help with the dental aspect of it. I mean, I guess it's better than nothing, but cute little eye going here. So how you guys doing? You guys have a good weekend or anything like that? Off topic, but I've learned my puppy is so tiny and cute that she can fit in your pocket. Oh, you finally got your puppy. I see. You might have mentioned that before. I'm sorry if I forgot, but that's adorable. You got a puppy that can fit in your pocket. Oh, that'd be amazing. I'd be taking that puppy everywhere. They let you take your dogs places if you say that they're like support animals. Like I don't know what the ethics are. Is it okay to lie and say that your animal is a support animal just because you really like hanging out with your animal? Because I would love to do that. I would love to take my dog places, especially Guinness. Like Guinness really likes to go out in public. Bear not so much. Hey Lorraine, how's it going? We are drawing an adventuring mouse tonight. I always wanted to do a mouse as like with like human characteristics or like just some kind of animal that was wearing an outfit. I've always wanted to do that. I think this one's going to look cool. You got kind of a little hat going on here. Go ahead and get that and put it in there actually. So my technique for drawing with pencil, I'm sure everybody's got their own little thing. Is I just kind of you know, if I'm doing fur or something, I might do like lines. I don't ever really do like cross hatching, which is kind of strange because if I was doing this in ink, I would be doing a lot of cross hatching. It's kind of strange that depending on what the medium is, I do different things. This here, I just kind of like go in little small circles. Just little small circles, kind of going back and back over the places I already did. I'm doing the little small circles almost just so that I don't show any kind of like pencil marks. I unless I'm doing like fur, you know, I want the fur to be kind of lines and stuff like that. But for these areas where I'm just filling in shadow, it's just like little circles and stuff. And again, I find that kind of interesting because I don't do that if I was doing it in pen. Because like in pen, you can't really kind of like blend things like that. I wouldn't even call it blending. Like you can't really lay out ink like that. I want this guy. I want this guy's goggles. These goggles are gonna look kind of cool. But yeah, I just kind of scribble back and forth, filling in this area, and then I'll go back over it several times. And I think my process again, I don't work with pencils all that much anymore, so I'm like developing my process as I'm doing this and thinking about it. I think my process is to like lay down a layer of shadow and then kind of go back over it and kind of darken it in, which it doesn't seem that surprising. I feel like anybody would probably do things that way. Hopefully, my internet stays stable. Like when I was doing that drawing on Saturday. By the way, kid, I'm still working on your picture. Should probably get it done this week. Like I like to get those things done pretty quick. I've got a couple of other drawings that I have to do in the near future, but we'll get it done for sure. I'd be working on it now, except that like I don't like to do the same thing twice. So got to come up with a different picture to do. I mean, I don't have to. Like I don't think that you guys would mind if I was working on a doggo picture. But I'm gonna work on this. This is part of my kick to like try to do more storytelling, right? So like I was trying to think of a story to tell through a drawing, and I came up with the idea of this mouse going on like little adventures and stuff like that. It's kind of like my picture a few weeks back where the mouse was kind of stuck in his like little hole and stuff, and there was a cat outside who was like waiting to like eat him as soon as he comes out the door. Well, now the mouse is free and exploring the world. That was kind of like what I had in my mind. Totally different. Let me know if like the video glitches or something like that. The computer is warning me, so if it does go out and stuff, I do apologize. I think this guy would look cool in like watercolor. Um, but I also wanted to practice drawing in pencil, so that's what we're doing. I like the idea of drawing more characters. Um, Again, like little guys that kind of have a story to them, some sort of backstory. It's hard to draw a circle. It really is. These are the guy's goggles. I'd probably draw an entire picture with mechanical pencils. Welcome back, Kinsley. I think I need to do one of those calls for to artists again. There's a video I made, I don't know, at least a year or more ago, where I invited everybody to kind of like submit their own art that they have worked on, and we went over them and kind of like showed them off and stuff like that. I think that would be kind of fun to do another one of those. And then, like Rum Dog's not in the house, but I've done a video with Rum Dog as kind of like a co-pilot. That was kind of fun. Maybe do another one of those in the near future. Because again, said I did a story once about a pencil that draws its life as it goes. That'd be awesome. That's great. That's the kind of fun stuff that I'm thinking about because that's the kind of stuff I used to draw when I was in school, like daydreaming in class. When I'm supposed to be doing work or something like that. I'd be uh, I'd be daydreaming. I'll tell you what I used to do a lot is I would draw like a room, like this room behind me, for example. And I guess it's because I played with GI Joe so much as a kid. I would imagine these little people running around my room, just like with grappling hooks going from like the shelves over to like my desk or something like that. Um, I used to do that a lot in school, so I would draw like the classroom, and I would have these like little stick figures almost because they were never that detailed of drawings, but basically stick figures running around the room, just having fun, getting into nonsense. I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, I used to do that all the time. I had all kinds of drawings like that. I had some in my bedroom when I was a kid. I had some in the classroom, bunch of little GI Joe little figures running around. They were just basically stick figures. There wasn't much to them. Trying to get some details into these straps here. Yeah, I'll come back over that at some point. All right, so this is all just getting like a base layer down. I'll come back and darken up some areas and stuff here later, but I just wanted to get all this stuff in just so that I kind of know the lay of the land. Like I feel like a lot of my drawings, like especially like when I do things like this, where I'm really paying attention to the shadows and the lights and stuff like that. I feel like I'm modeling. Like I feel like I am sculpting instead of drawing. That's the way I feel when I'm doing it. I feel like I'm building up like forms. I don't think that's a unique perspective, but it's definitely how I feel about it. It's looking cute already. All right, so I need to get a really dark area in here for his ear. His ear is basically a little cone where it's really dark through here and then kind of comes up. This is what's fun about drawing in pencil. I mean, it's pure, you know. Like, but if I'm doing something in pastel, I feel like I'm just like being too artistically creative. This is basically like going um, over the same lines over and over again, just basically passing the time. I like the purity of that, you know. Um, I'm not like really big into like Zen meditation or anything like that, but I do know a little bit about it. And in that kind of like meditative stuff, you are trying to like, quiet your mind by doing repetitive tasks in some forms of it. And that's what this feels like, you know. Like you really can't like if you're ever trying to like just relax and kind of like be less stressed. This is the way to do it, guys. Just draw a picture. Draw a picture like this. Don't try to like create a masterpiece. Don't try to like, you know, do anything fancy. Just draw what you see and take your time with it and do these kind of like repetitive marks over and over again because that's where it's at. My dog's snoring. Can you hear my dog? That's funny. Bear. That's embarrassing. I have to get some of those snore strips for my dog. There you go. Forget about the teeth. How do I get like my dog to stop snoring? Would it be possible to see the total start to finish, including the prep work? Yeah, absolutely. I've got a couple of videos like that, especially like when I'm doing my watercolor pictures and stuff. It's just kind of like time consuming. When I'm doing like a drawing like this and stuff, there's very minimal setup. So I can definitely do that sometime if you'd like. When I'm doing the watercolor ones, I have to put down the watercolor and then I have to like let it dry and then I have to put down the clear gesso and then let that dry. That's usually why I do that kind of stuff beforehand. But yeah, I've got kind of a process. There's a video on my homepage, I think, kind of like explaining a little bit about how I kind of like lay out the picture as well. So like for example, for that one, it's a portrait, and I found the portrait on Reddit, and it explains how I kind of like map out and like measure things so that everything is like proportionally correct and stuff. In that particular case, what I do is I open it in like Photoshop, and I kind of like map out like, oh, okay, this is where the ear starts, and this is where like like the eye starts and stuff like that, so that I can draw everything in proportion. I like to do that most times. Every now and then, I'll just kind of like freehand something. I've done. There's a couple of videos I think I have where I've done that as well. But yeah, I mean, for a picture like this, there's not much to it. Basically, I tape down the paper and then I kind of like figure out where on the paper I want my mouth to be, and I kind of sketch it out and move things around until I get it right. But whenever I'm drawing like these like lines that you see here and stuff, I always draw them like very very faint. They're almost like they're almost just kind of like guideline maps, right? So like even here, like you can kind of see where I've marked like just kind of like the corners of where I want the square picture to be. All of that stuff is just like they're just basically guidelines that I use to kind of figure out where on the page the picture is going to be. This part that I'm doing now, the rendering of shadows and stuff like that, all of that, I mean, it's basically freehand on the shadow rendering. Um, but with these guidelines that I put in, I kind of know, all right, like I kind of want this like little shadow here that represents this cheek to kind of come up yay far away from like the collar and so on, if that makes sense. As far as coming up with an idea for a picture, most of them aren't that conceptually like involved. So like this picture, the mouse with the like the steampunk hat and stuff like that. That takes a little bit of thinking about. Maybe there's a little bit more of a composition involved in that. Most of the pictures I do, I'm drawing like a dog's face or something, and like if it's my face or whatever, I just draw the face and then like kind of just dissolve the rest of them. So it's not like there's a lot of thinking as far as the composition there goes either. Like most of my pictures, they're all kind of like in that style where um, the detailed area is like around the face, and then the rest of it just kind of like dissolves off into like the rest of the paper. But yeah, absolutely. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, I can kind of. I've been looking for like more standalone videos to like go over like the process anyway. So I'd be happy to make a video where I'm kind of like explaining it, because like there are some folks out there like yourself that are interested in drawing that are looking for like little tips and stuff on that kind of stuff. You're a fan of like Mad Charcoal, so like you can still see a dog. Yeah, it could still be a dog. It's got these big ears though. Like, what kind of dog has those big ears? Um, anyway, you're a fan of Mad Charcoal. A lot of the pictures that I did early, especially like the portraits ones, I really do just like making a mess like he does, and then kind of like using that to kind of extract a form from it. And I do that a lot with the watercolor pastel pictures as well. So I'll kind of have a sketch of like where I want things to be on the page generally. Like if this was one of those pictures, I would start with like basically a sketch of the mouse's face, and then I would just use watercolor to kind of fill in some guidelines that I would use like when I go to do the actual pastel drawing. So like I'll have through the watercolor this cheek of his already or hers already darkened in through the watercolor. So then I know that when I go to do the pastel side of it, I'm just drawing basically light fur over that darkened area. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, but for a drawing like this, there's not much prep work. Basically, the prep work for this, like this is a true story. The prep work for this is like, oh crap, it's like it's pretty late. I got to do a drawing tonight. What am I going to draw? And then like I'll spend some time. thinking about it. I like to go for walks and stuff. I usually come up with my ideas for drawings while I'm walking and stuff. So I'll come up with some ideas. Maybe I'll poke around on the internet. Like my search history is full of like things like, what are the good things to draw? And you know, like I'm not really picky. Sometimes I draw like a lot of pets. You guys have seen that, pets and wildlife and things like that because I enjoy drawing that. But then every now and then I'll pick something that I just want to like try. Like one of the things I really enjoy doing like is scribble art. Like I don't know if you've seen any of those kind of time lapses that I've done in the past on those. Those are fun for me because like I purposely want so my end goal someday, not anytime soon. I'm not there. But I would love to be able to sit down and draw people in public in a reasonable amount of time. So like if I'm with somebody at the bar or on a bus or something like that, I would love to like just draw them. And that'd be like a little fun thing that we share while at the bar or something like that. That'd be my way of hanging out with people, right? Drawing them. Um, so to that end, I really want to draw things fast. I want to get good at that, and it's obviously this is not going to cut it. Like these type of pictures end up taking me like a long time, and that's nobody's going to sit for that long. Like this mouse is not going to sit there for as long as it's taking me to do this picture. So to solve that, I kind of come up with a couple of different methods that I enjoy doing. One is like the mad charcoal kind of way where you just throw down like a bunch of charcoal or a bunch of pastel or something like that, and then you kind of carve out something from it. And that's kind of the idea behind the watercolor pictures that I do as well. You just throw down a bunch of clouds of watercolor and then you kind of like try to give some form to it. Like in some ways, I'm kind of doing that here as well with the smudging, old habits and all that. But yeah, so like sorry, the scribble art. When I haven't done many in a while and stuff, but I started the year doing a couple of them and stuff, and I really enjoy doing them. That's where I sit down and I just kind of scribble with my ink pen, just kind of scribble out a form. And what's great about that, like I can't really demonstrate it while doing this picture, but you can create a form just with scribbles and stuff, and then kind of refine it into um, something that looks like something else, right? So, like, if I just kind of scribble and stuff like that, you've seen me do it with ink, I'm sure. But if I just kind of scribble it, eventually this is going to look like mouse fur, right? So I'll just scribble until it starts looking like something that's recognizable. And I really like that kind of method because then you can kind of move things around and kind of like get them to look like they are the right size and proportion and all that. Because that's always the challenge. The challenge is always getting something to look realistic and be the right size and be the right proportions and all that stuff. Especially when it comes to like doing portraits and stuff. So, when you have a scribble method or you're just kind of throwing out charcoal and kind of like developing forms from that charcoal or pastels or cross hatching in with ink or pencil even, and you start to see some forms appearing out of it. um, that's all it is really. Like even here I'm just kind of like basically scribbling in stuff until it kind of looks like it should. Because again, it says I do something like that. I'll send you a couple of them, Jeremy, and you can share them here. Awesome. Yeah, like hey, this is a standing offer. If anybody has art that they've done that they want shared on this channel, let me know. I'll show it off. I'll kind of promote you. Make sure that like you include your like username or website or whatever it is that you want to promote. I'll share that stuff. Because like I said, I kind of want to do that like more formally. It's been a long time since I've done an episode like that where I was sharing other people's work. But I like that because that gives it kind of like the community aspect that I would like to see more of here. you know. I thought about creating a Discord where people who are into drawing and stuff that show up at my channel and stuff can kind of like hang out and collaborate and stuff like that. I still think that'd be kind of cool. I don't know how, like, you know, I'm a little concerned about there's some younger people who watch this channel sometimes. Even my niece watches this channel, and I don't know how, like, I could start a Discord server and, you know, kind of protect them so that they're not being harassed by other people. Like, I would hate to have a Discord and somebody be like making fun of somebody's art or something like that. That would suck. And I don't have 24 hours a day to moderate that kind of stuff. But so I haven't figured out that side of it. But if I ever do, it would be kind of cool to have a community like that where people are sharing their art and stuff. But I kind of want I kind of want this community to be like friendly and open to everybody, and I don't really want to start a community where people are being treated poorly or something because there's no moderator around or whatever. So I haven't done it yet, but it's still something I would love to do. But yeah, so like sometimes I do start a picture. It's kind of hard to explain the process because the process is different depending on the medium and stuff like that, and depending on what mood I'm in. So something like this, yeah, I'll start off with like a sketch of like where I basically want different parts to be and stuff. But then other times I'm more, like in a fluid kind of mood, and I'll just like draw an X, and from that X I'll build out a face. So like as you can see, there's kind of an X here already, like X and stuff. I would kind of like use that as a base to like draw out the form of the subject or whatever it is I'm drawing. So it really depends. And then, like I said, I am a huge fan of like basically drawing clouds and then trying to find shapes in the clouds and stuff. That's kind of my go-to kind of mode. I enjoy doing that a lot. Very rarely will I ever like draw out something and stick very closely to the guidelines that I drew. Like there's various methods for drawing something accurately that I support. I don't do them myself just because like I'm not that familiar with them. But like for example, the Loomis method would have you draw like an oval and then kind of bring a triangle off of the oval and stuff, and then kind of like use those basic primitive shapes and stuff to get you started, and then kind of build like more soft shapes from those. But if you think about that, this is just an oval. This is like a rectangle coming off that oval. This is a circle, like an oval as well. You got an oval for the eye. You could do that, and like a lot of people do and stuff. I'm just not familiar with it enough to kind of like do that so that other people can like learn from me doing it. So I kind of avoid things like that instead. So there's a there's a great way to like I would love to do a video. I'm probably never going to do this because it's like it'd be a lot of work, but I would love to do a video where I'm explaining how to draw characters based on 3D modeling, because I feel like there's two approaches in 3D modeling. I've done a little bit of 3D modeling myself. I'm not an expert on it. I've used Blender to create some 3D pictures and animations and stuff like that in the past. I'm not an expert on it, but I know my way around the program. All right. So in 3D modeling, and this is the kind of 3D modeling that they use to make Marvel movies, basically any kind of like CGI kind of stuff. There's basically two mindsets for creating objects in 3D model. One is you can, hold on one second. Gotta drink my bourbon. One is that you can start with a whole bunch of different planes and kind of build up your form off of like, basically here's a flat plane. Oops. Sorry, the eraser fell off. Here's a flat plane. I'm going to create a flat plane. I'm going to create a flat plane. So if you look at this picture, this area here might be a flat plane, and then you kind of like pull in the flat plane so that it's a little bit concave, another flat plane, and you just basically build up your form off of all these different flat planes, flat planes. Sorry, this is the drawback to drinking and driving. You build up all of these different shapes and stuff by basically building them almost like a wireframe. Well, it is a wireframe, really, but it's almost like a chicken wireframe where you take like a chicken wire and you're basically building, um, like a three-dimensional object off of that wireframe, and then you come back and add materials to it later, like paper mache or something like that, right? So that's one way of doing it. So you're building up a form based off of just a bunch of planes and stuff. So like if you have a plane and a plane and a plane and a plane and a plane, eventually you'll end up with a sphere. And then there are some basic shapes and stuff that you can use in these 3D modeling programs like Blender and stuff like that. Um, One is a sphere, one is a cube, one is a torus, which is basically a donut, a cylinder. All of these are the same things that you might use when doing the Loomis method, right? You're using these basic shapes to create more complex shapes. So, like again, oval is a sphere. This is basically an elongated cone. These are things that would be available to you in a 3D modeling program, right? So that's one way of drawing or building up a character in 3D modeling. And it's the same way in drawing, like you can start with all these different planes and all these basic shapes, and you can build up a character off of that. And that's basically the core of the Loomis method. The other method in 3D modeling is that so that's one way in 3D modeling, and that's a very common way that people use to create these 3D models and stuff like that. The second way is that you can just literally start with a lump of clay, or the equivalent of a lump of clay in this digital environment, and just basically pinch at it and extract and kind of smudge and move things around and stuff until you end up with the shape that you want. So which way is better? It's a matter of your preference, like so if you look at this, this could easily be a bunch of shapes, three-dimensional shapes that are kind of like all put together in order to create a face, or it could just be like a big lump of clay, kind of like this kneadable eraser here and stuff. This one's seen better days, where you're kind of like just modeling it up until it looks kind of like like a mouse face. Which way is right? There is no right way. It's whatever you prefer, and I kind of do both to a degree, like in my drawing. But I couldn't tell you which way is better. A lot of people think that the Loomis method is probably a better way to teach drawing, and I could see that because you're basically breaking it down into its fundamental shapes. So it's easy to describe. Like, I can't tell you how to draw a mouse, right? But I can tell you how to draw a circle. I can tell you how to draw a sphere or an oval. I can tell you how to add a triangle to it. I can't tell you how to draw a mouse, but I can tell you how to draw these basic shapes, And that's basically the concept behind, some of these drawing techniques, is to break it down into teachable things that are less intimidating than, hey, go draw me a mouse, If I tell you to go draw me a mouse, you might start feeling a little anxious. Like, I don't know how to draw a mouse. But if I tell you to draw an oval, you can do that. So that's kind of the concept behind these different, drawing methods and stuff. They're meant to like kind of break it down into something that's teachable. And I get it. I really do. I don't do that myself. Basically, I sit down and I draw a mouse. I'm not drawing a circle. I'm not drawing a sphere. I'm drawing a mouse. Obviously, this is a mouse, right? You didn't see me draw a circle. But yeah, I totally get it. And it's probably, like if I ever wanted to actually teach art, which is not something that, it's probably something I accidentally do. It's not something I try to do. But if I actually were trying to teach art, I might have to like teach a method that I don't use myself. Just because it's easier to teach, if that makes sense. Hey, Rum Dog. Yeah, I do use Blender. Sorry. Yeah, probably posted that a little while back. I sometimes get on my like these little tangents of mine and stuff, and I don't remember to check the chat. I do apologize about that. Yeah, I use Blender. Not a lot. I wouldn't say a lot, but I've used it enough to where I feel comfortable if I wanted to create something, I could probably figure it out. It's just so time consuming for me. Like, there are other people who are like better at it and quicker at it, and they're able to zoom around it a lot more than me. So I use it. It's fun. But I think things like that are good references. So like I would use Blender to create something that I would want to draw for sure. It says I would go see another podiatrist. Shoe insert. Oh, you guys are talking about foots. Foots. That's not a thing. You guys are talking about feet. All right, so I'll probably come back and kind of darken this in a little bit, but you can see that there's kind of a face there. I've got, I've got these goggles, got a little face and stuff. Now I kind of want to work on the body. So he's wearing an outfit and he's like going on an adventure. So he's got like a little like steampunk backpack back here. He's got like, fluffy shirt on and stuff like that. So that's the part I got to work on now. And this is a little bit outside my comfort zone of like how I normally do pictures and stuff like that. I usually draw something that I feel like I can get a lot of detail in on fairly quickly, and then I kind of like move on and just kind of ignore the rest of it. So in this case, I've got a face there. I'm pretty happy with that, but now I've got to get all this other detail in that makes up his outfit, because like the story is that he's going on an adventure. He's got like a little jacket on. He's got like a little, whenever you go on an adventure, you got to have the collar up. He's got the collar up and everything, and all that detail, to greater or lesser degrees, need to be kind of penciled in pretty quickly. So I kind of have an idea of where all these things are, and I'm just going to kind of develop it a little bit as I go. Um, the way this works is I'll have an idea. I'll kind of lightly sketch it in at the outset. And then as I'm working with it, I might change some things around and stuff. Like I may not like how this collar works. I may not like how he's got kind of like a little scarf on and stuff. I may not like that. I may change it to like a bow tie or whatever, but I'll probably keep the scarf. So those kind of things kind of change a little bit as I keep going. I've talked in the past about like I don't want everything to be over detailed and stuff, so I'll more loosely draw this kind of stuff in. But it's easier to like loosely draw in because it's like it's clothing. Clothing I think is actually an interesting thing to draw anyway, because like you have like a bunch of folds and stuff. It's just as interesting as drawing a face or like a furry creature or something like that. But you have all like folds, and I love drawing like robes, like wizards and robes and things like that. That's something I really enjoyed drawing growing up as well. I used to do like Batman a lot just because Batman's got like a cape and everything. And well, I guess most of them have capes, like, but Batman had a cowl, right? Like he's got bat wings and stuff. It's a lot more fun to draw um, than like Superman's cape or something like that. But I do like big fluffy flowing things and stuff where I can get like shadows in. So like he's got like fluffy arms, not fluffy arms, but fluffy shirt sleeves and stuff. I like that because I can kind of like get in some shadows and some highlights and stuff like that. Because to me, it's drawing isn't lines. To me, it's shapes. It's three-dimensional shapes. So it's more like modeling clay than lines to me. I'm not drawing a cartoon here. If I was drawing a cartoon, like if I was drawing a Simpsons episode or something like that, where I have this mouse kind of reduced to 2D forms and stuff like that, then I'm drawing lines, and I have to be cognizant of what I'm doing there so that the lines so the simplified version of it is still realistic and still believable and all that stuff. But in this case, I'm drawing a fairly realistic mouse that just happens to be wearing clothing. Um, so in this case, I'm working on three dimensions. You know, like I want this puffy shirt sleeve to be believably three dimensional. You know. Hey, Coopart, how's it going? Thanks. But yeah, I really like drawing. I like drawing anything that looks like a 3D model. So in this case, we got clothing. I don't do that a lot. Honestly, I would love to do like more figure drawing where I'm drawing like a person wearing like a robe or something like that. That would be very cool. These are the type of things that you want to practice as an artist, I guess, or like a person who draws. Like we're all artists and stuff, but we all do different kinds of creative things. So whenever I say like an artist, you know, it could just be like you with a pencil and paper, just doodling, right? But these are things that you want to practice. You want to practice clothing. You want to practice, you know, what do shadows look like when they're bunched up in like an adventurer's outfit, you know? Bilbo Baggins could just as easily be wearing this outfit. What would it look like if Bilbo Baggins was a mouse? You know, that sort of thing. So you can see I'm not really spending a lot of time drawing lines here so much as I am drawing shadows. Like this is the shadow area. Um, so that's probably another tip I guess I can give, even though like I don't know. I'm figuring this out as I go along. But another tip I think, or an observation I guess that I would have made is that you know, and I'm not the first to say this. Draw the big shapes and then kind of move into small shapes, right? So the big shapes are these shadow areas in the clothing, and then maybe there's some detail in the clothing, like there might be a button or something on this little flap here. But the big shape is the flap itself, and the shadows that make up the flap. The big shapes of the sleeve would be these shadow areas that you know I'm just very roughly sketching in and stuff. I'll smooth out and stuff like that more, a little bit more. But I kind of want him to be wearing like a vest that may have some detail in it and stuff like that. So I'll come back and work on that kind of stuff. The big shape here is that there's a collar. The big shape here is that there's a kind of a scarf. And then, you know, this kind of comes down into a vest. And then the big shapes are that he has hands here, and then the rest of the vest kind of down here to the edge of my drawing area, which I've kind of determined was a square. Which I might come back and like shade in a little bit later and stuff. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm going to have time to do all that. I feel like I only have time to get the actual figure in. So anyway, I think I got a lot of the big shapes in there. Yeah, obviously we have a tail coming out here, which I'll kind of develop a little bit. And then I think I'll come back and I'll smooth some of this stuff out. And then we'll have like basically clay that we can kind of like build up a little bit more. One of my doctors is really into steampunk. Yeah, so like I love steampunk myself, but I feel like it's almost a generational thing. So like I heard, and I don't know if this is true. I'm sure there's still plenty of people who love steampunk, but steampunk has been around for a while. Like you know, if you think about it, it goes back to at least like Wild Wild West with Will Smith and you know that movie with that. I think Kevin Kline was in it as well. But it's been around for a while. It's been around for a minute. So I think the new thing is cyberpunk, right? So like everybody used to do like all these steampunk pictures, which obviously I still enjoy. I love steampunk. I just love the concept of steampunk. But I think the new trend is cyberpunk, which you know steampunk for those who don't know is basically taking like the Victorian era of, I don't know, like blimps, or like the goggles and stuff, like a bunch of gears and stuff like that. Basically, that time period, and kind of like rendering modern things in it, right? So like a good example is like a computer, but the keyboard is like a standard like antique typewriter or something like that. Like a lot of gears, watches, brass, steam, steam itself. It's all from that steam period of time, but rendering modern things in that format. So anyway, steampunk is something that a lot of you guys are probably familiar with. So like I don't feel like I need to explain it too much. Um, Conversely, cyberpunk is kind of almost a play on it, really, but it's more where you're taking things and adding computer stuff to it. So cyberpunk might be that this guy has like a bionic eye or something that's rigged up to a computer like hearing mechanism in the back, or something like that, or like there's some neon lights to it or something, like he's got like a lightsaber or something. Cyberpunk would be like if you ever watch Blade Runner, um, obviously Star Wars, even some of the MCU, like the parts that are set in space, like Guardians of the Galaxy, or like some of the Thor parts. Those are all like cyberpunk. Um, and I think that's the growing trend. It's like people are like, maybe I'll try that sometime. But I really feel like cyberpunk really needs to be in color, because like you can do like a black and white pencil drawing and stuff like that, and it feels time period appropriate for like steampunk, but I don't think like pencil drawings really reflect cyberpunk. I don't know. I guess you could probably pull it off. It really depends on the subject matter you're tackling. But yeah, maybe I'll try a cyberpunk mouse at some point. But yeah, so you start with these big areas of shadow, lay down some graphite, and kind of smooth it all in, make it all nice and shadowy. And then you kind of refine it a little bit. Still got to do his backpack. How we doing with time? Yeah, we're not doing too bad all the time. And dog says cute. Nice. What do you mean cute? He's supposed to be like a vicious exploit. No, I'm just kidding. I'll take cute. I wish I had time to like actually get in the background, because like I would like to develop that a little bit more. But these kind of drawings sometimes they can take a while depending on how much time you want to spend it on it. I'm gonna stick with our normal amount of time that we spend on these things, but you can go into like a great level of detail. It's a super cute mouse. Thank you so much. All right, so I got to do these dreaded hands. I hate doing hands because I'm just not very good at it. So he's holding his vest, and he's got these like little tiny hands holding his vest. So I think there'd be some shadow on that one. I don't want him to have too many fingers. I guess like three fingers and then kind of like a thumb, I think, would be cute for a mouse. I don't know how many fingers actual mice have. I don't like. I had a mouse at one point. I don't think it was a rat. Maybe it was. I don't know. He was a little white mouse looking thing. I don't know what kind. Edie says it was 102 in San Antonio, Texas. Wow. What's the temp in Kentucky? So it's in the 70s. Like I think it got up to like 73 today, which is very comfortable. It's a little warm for around here, but considering it's been kind of cool and stuff with the rain and stuff lately, but it's nice. We are in full blown spring out here. Everything's green. You got the flowers blooming. It is really nice. We just had our first art show of the year. Like, and I didn't participate. I'm just saying, like locally. Um, that was for Mother's Day. We had a farmers market open up. Oh, the farmers market here. I might actually sign up for that. So like, apparently it's only like 25 bucks for a booth. Like, basically it's open for like Saturday, just Saturday morning and stuff. But there was I might have mentioned this on Saturday. I don't know, but there was a lady selling like jewelry. So I'm like, maybe they'll like let me kind of like show off my art and stuff. So I might actually do that. I'm gonna kind of scope it out and see if like it's worth my while. Because I think it's like 25 bucks for like a few hours or something on a Saturday. So I'll have to see. But anyway, point is, it is full blown spring out there, guys. It is nice. I went kayaking over the weekend. Um, it's nice to get out on the water. Usually I don't go kayaking by myself, but this time I did, and it was really kind of really peaceful to like go out by myself and just kind of enjoy the weather and the water, and I was kind of taking my time, um, and there's some really like shallow areas and stuff where the water was clear and you could kind of see down and stuff, and I saw like turtles and like fish swimming. It was kind of cool. There was this one part where this light was coming through the trees and lit up a part of the creek that I was paddling on, and everything else was like this murky kind of like greenish blue water and stuff you couldn't see very far, but because this light was showing through, and there was a fish there, it lit up the fish, and because everything else was like so dark, it's almost like the fish was floating. Yeah, hopefully I'm back. Looks like I might be. All right, guys. It looks like I might be back. We'll see. But I'll continue drawing. Hopefully, hopefully we'll see you in a minute. Yeah, might be a minute. I don't know if I'm streaming or not. Oh well. All right. I think I'm back. You guys let me know if I'm back. Um, Yay, I'm back. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, I was like, you know, Kentucky internet. What can I say? Oh, now the dogs are all riled up. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Larry's like, I spilled my beer on the stream. I mean, I really don't know how to fix this. Like, it's just a terrible Kentucky internet. I am sorry about that, but it is what it is. What can I say? And it kind of sucks too because I'm actually enjoying doing this picture. I'm enjoying the conversation. It's you guys are a great crowd. I feel like we were having some cool conversations and stuff like that. And then boom, internet goes out, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. um, I do record these things, so I guess it's not all lost, but I don't really know what to say when I'm talking to myself, but that's all right. All right, so like, I guess back to the picture. Um, So as far as like the backpack goes, I kind of have this steampunk idea of like, just basically this kind of like backpack with all these like weird gizmos on it and stuff like that. That's very steampunky. Basically, if you have a bunch of gears and like brass gears and goggles, that's steampunk. I just love the genre. I really do. Like I said, I don't know if like this is still as popular as it once was. Trends come and go. I guess, people will always be into steampunk, I think. Um, but it's not like, a mouse in steampunk garb is brand new. It's not like a new concept or anything like that. But anyway, I think I'll just put some bells and gizmos and stuff on his backpack. But he does have these like cool straps that come through. So it does put in. Hey, there's Ernie. Yeah. Well, you know, Kentucky. What can I say? So here's an example, I think, of a nice gear kind of like motif. I'll have a little tube coming off here, and then I'll have kind of like a little bicycle gear or watch gear, whatever you prefer. It's hard to draw a perfect circle. It really is. So hopefully I can pull this off. Yeah, steampunk is nice. I've always been a fan of steampunk. I just love the concept of taking like, you know, historical stuff and kind of like making it more modern. I'm trying to think of some movies that are like that. Like I said, Wild Wild West with um, Will Smith. That's a good one. Obviously, I'm trying to think. There's a couple of other ones. There's a Nicole Kidman movie. It's like that. A lot of them came out early 2000s. There was a huge steampunk trend at the time. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Sucker Punch, that's a perfect example. Sucker Punch is a great movie. I love that movie. It didn't do very well at the box office, and I'm kind of surprised at that. I love Emily Browning. I think that's her name. Um, the style of that show or that movie was just fantastic. So like I don't know if people didn't like the plot or whatever, but the artistic effect of that movie. I mean, like I say this about some shows like Arcane and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Um, Certainly, of Sucker Punch, you can take any frame of that movie and just kind of like take a snapshot of it, blow it up big, and like put it on your wall as a work of art. That movie was so awesome. They really captured the effect of of steampunk really, and not just steampunk, but like a graphic novel kind of steampunk. That movie was great. Again, like the actual plot of it and stuff like that. I mean, I couldn't tell you what happens in the movie. I don't remember too much about it, but I remember that it was artistically awesome. Um, I think the lady goes on like a revenge spree or something like I don't remember, but it was beautiful. You can say that. And like I said, I like Emily Browning. Like I don't think I've seen her in anything recently, which is a shame. Like people come and go in Hollywood and stuff like that. But I thought she'd be around. Trying to think if there's some other people in that movie that I liked. I don't remember their names, but the art of that movie, I wish they would do more. That's what sucks about those pictures. I have one in my office with baby doll wielding a sword. Yeah, I mean, that kind. Like I said, any of that stuff. I mean, you could just take a clip of it and it's art. Um, Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow. Like a lot of people probably don't even remember that movie. It kind of sucks when movies like this don't do very well because I kind of wish they would make more of them. Hey MJ, um, it kind of like it's how I feel about the Marvel movies. Like the Marvel movies have been kind of struggling in the past recent years, and it kind of sucks because like on one hand they deserve it, like because there's a lot of problems with Marvel movies nowadays. Although Thunderbolts was really good, I do recommend that one if anybody gets the chance to go and watch it. Um, Captain America: Brave New World, and not so much. It was okay, but that's one of those things that you can wait until it comes out on Disney Plus. But anyway, like it kind of sucks when a movie that is stylistically really really cool flops. I hate that because I want them to make more of those type of movies. Movies that are just beautiful. Th- there are a lot of beautiful movies that don't flop. Like I said, you know, Spider-Man Into Spider-Verse, excellent movie. Any frame of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse, you can take any frame of that and just like blow it up big, and it's just like it'll stand alone outside of the context of the movie. Um, what's that movie I watched recently? Flow, like with the little kitty cat. Like if you have not seen Flow, go and watch Flow. It's got this little black cat in it. Artistically beautiful. That movie is such a work of art, and the story itself. Like I don't want to spoil anything, but the story is basically a cat um, meeting some like little furry friends and stuff and making his way through the world. There is no dialogue in it. There is no human speech at all in this. Like you get barking dogs. That's the most amount of speech in this movie. I think it's on HBO if you have that, but or Max or whatever they're calling it now. That is an excellent artistic movie. I love it when they make things like that, and they don't make enough of them. And whenever one flops, I kind of feel like that's a shame because I really wish they would make more of them. Sucker Punch is a great example. So Sucker Punch, I think, was like a perfect artistic movie. I don't know about the plot; I can't speak to that. Um, but the it was a beautiful movie, and I don't think it did very well in the box office. I think it kind of flopped. But that could have just been the times. It had not. It's not necessarily a reflection of the movie itself. I thought the movie was cool. I don't know why this dog is licking the floor. Stop that. Gross. Don't lick the floor. Weirdo. Hey, stop that. Go lay down. Weird dogs. Anybody want a weird dog? I'm just kidding. I would never get rid of my dog. Um, I rode the ultimate steampunk ride at Silver Dollar City in Branson, Missouri. It was called the Time Traveler. Oh, that sounds awesome. Yeah, so time travel. That's a very steampunk kind of a theory. So like H.G. Wells, all of that kind of stuff. His time travel device or whatever. That's all steampunk related. That's perfect. H.G. Wells. That let's see. What is it? What is the 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea ship? Whatever that was. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, another great steampunk esque movie that bombed in the box office. I don't know why people didn't like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That was probably like one of Sean Connery's last movies, and I think it was really good for the time, but nobody responded to it. I don't know why. It was basically like different literary characters, like all drawn brought together in kind of like a comic book. Like I think League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is a comic book or a graphic novel or something. Um, didn't do very well in the box office, which is a shame. Because one, I really do think it was one of Sean Connery's last films, and two, it was actually really good. I like the concept of these literary characters being in, a graphic novel story. That ship was badass. What was the name of that ship? It was something like the Nautilus. There you go. It took me a moment. Sorry, the Nautilus. Yeah. So most renditions of the Nautilus is 100% a steampunk invention. Um, because they didn't really have the technology at the time that that book was written to create that kind of thing. Same thing with like um, like I don't know, flying machines and cloud, like all of that stuff in the 1800s, not early 1900s and stuff. That stuff didn't really exist. If you think about it, when airplanes came about, that was like early 1900s or something like that. Certainly in the 1800s, when some of these stories were written, I think that's when these stories were written. I don't know. These things just didn't exist, so they had to like make them up. So they made up ideas of like flying machines out of like dirigibles and things like that. So I don't know, but yeah, steampunk's cool. You know, and it really doesn't take a lot to create like a steampunk kind of piece of art. You really just need, you know, some sort of technology. You know, we're putting it on his backpack. You know, he has to have the goggles for no reason. Like I don't even know why he has like these like steampunk goggles, but it's necessary for the genre. But it is kind of fun because you get to draw these like little like random pieces of tech for no reason. I feel like this is what a graphic novelist drawer, like somebody who draws comics, for example, would do anyway. Just draw random tech. Like in this case, I don't know. I'm just gonna have like a little bell in the back for no reason whatsoever. So I guess like I don't know. This tech is like gonna pick up cats or something. Like it's like it's going to pick up like cat radar kind of stuff, and then it's going to ding if a cat is nearby. There you go. That's what it's going to do. It's got this little clock on the front for some reason. I don't. And then um, we're going to have it have a horn coming out the back. Again, just making this stuff up, right? Like we're going to have it have a horn. A stylistic horn. So you just draw these random things, and then you connect them somehow to the gizmo, and then boom, you've got a steampunk device. So basically, he's got this little cat detector is going to ding this bell, and if that doesn't work, it's going to blow this horn and alert him that a cat is nearby. There you go. That's the concept. Yeah, that does seem like a lot of fun. Uh, Mad Max. Mad Max is kind of a steampunk thing. What genre would that be? Now that I think about it, so it's got aspects of steampunk for sure, but then also it's very modern too. That might be like a genre of its own. I don't know. I'd have to look into that. But yeah, it's the same sort of concept for sure. All right, so at this point, I think my mouse is all in there. It's just a bit of rendering at this point. So we're gonna do that. How are we doing on time? And we are kind of running a little bit late, but sorry about the internet dropping out earlier. Hopefully, I can get enough of this backpack in here to where you guys can kind of see it, and then maybe I can worry about the rest of it offline or something like that. DJ Danger Mouse. How's it going, Alan? Alan, I saw your request for the puppy. I will be drawing that for sure. That's an adorable dog there. And I do appreciate you. For those who are like late to the show, I mentioned at the outset, Ben and Ashley. You guys, most of you guys know Ben and Ashley. Their cat is really really sick. Has the diabetes. Racked up some vet bills that Ben and Ashley were hoping that people could help them out with. There is a link in the description below for that GoFundMe. Like if anybody is interested at all, if you have like $5 or something like that to throw that way, um, they're good friends of ours. Uh, they pop in here every now and then. It takes a village, all that stuff. I don't know. I'm not gonna really sell you guys on the idea. It's like if you have some extra cash, I'm sure they would appreciate it. Otherwise, don't worry about it. Everybody's got got things that they can do and not do. I don't have a fortune myself. I wish I did. That's why we did the treasure hunting, right? So that we can get a fortune. But, Edie says this piece looks awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I kind of feel like I've dug myself a hole here on all these details and stuff. But you kind of have to have those details and stuff if you're going to do a steampunk kind of picture. You're going to have a mouse wandering around. He needs his gadgets. And then, like some of the stuff, like I don't have a reference picture to it. I only have like a reference picture for the mouse itself. Some of the stuff I have to kind of guess. Like obviously the light source is coming from here, so this stuff through here should really be in the shadow. You have to think about these things, especially if you're like doing kind of your own thing without like any kind of reference and stuff. Like some of the stuff that comes from your imagination or whatever. Jeremy, you're 100%. Thanks, I appreciate that. Thanks, Jeremy, for posting the link. Yeah, like I said, like if you can help out, that's cool. If not, don't worry about it. But I thought I'd throw in that link just in case. You know, we have different. We have a whole lot of different people who watch this show. Like some people who watch this show, you know, can afford it. Some people who can't. I don't want anybody who can't to stress it, but those who can, might as well. It's a good way to feel good about yourself. You're helping a poor little cat. He posted some pictures of the kitty earlier. The cat looks rough. I'm not gonna lie, the cat looks rough. But the news is that he should be pulling through. Like he's doing much better today. They need to keep him overnight and all that stuff. But the cat does seem to be doing better, even though the cat definitely looks like some of my own cats that I've taken to the vet. Uh, I had a cat one time that had diabetes. Like a long time ago. I was trying to think. That was like early 2000s, I think. I had a cat that just started feeling like listless for no reason. Um, didn't really know what was going on. Turns out it was diabetes. Like they're just like regular people when it comes to that stuff. Like if they don't get, I think diabetes. My mom has diabetes, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. Um, if they don't get the sugar intake that they need to create the insulin or whatever, I don't I'm not a medical professional. I don't know how all this stuff works, but if they don't get the insulin they need, they just basically run out of juice. That's what happened to this cat. And I think that's what happened to Ben and Ashley's cat as well. It just basically runs out of juice. And unfortunately it's a chemical thing. So it's not easy. You have to take them to the vet. The vet needs to sort it out, but it is something that is treatable. So hopefully the kitty will pull through. But it seems to cost a fortune. These freaking vets, man. It's just like I feel like it's robbery. I feel like they charge this much because they can, not because they should. Like I don't feel like you see inflation happen and you're like, okay, well, this is just something that happens. But then you also have to worry about like price gouging, like is it necessary for this to happen? I don't think it always is. I think some people like raise their prices just because they feel like they can. And I don't think that's right. I don't want to get like all political or anything like that. I'm just gonna say when it comes to pets and pets' lives, it ain't right. Yeah, they charge because they can, and I don't think that's what I'm kind of complaining about. Like, I get it. If medicine goes up in price or something like that, and they need to offset their costs and stuff, that's fine. You know, that's life. But if they're just charging because they can, I don't like it. I don't know. These might be the most reputable vets in the world. I really don't know. But I looked at, like, they posted a like an estimate, I think, of like what all the different expenses are and stuff like that. And I'm looking through it and I'm like, man, if this was Kentucky, those would be much lower. Like, we we don't have the cheapest vet bills around here and stuff, but they are far lower than what they were charging Ben and Ashley for sure. I don't think that's right. I don't know, man. I just feel like things are bad when it comes to pet and vet bills. Like, they take advantage of you because they know that you have a soft spot for animals, and that's not something anybody should be like penalized for. That's something that everybody should be celebrated for. Like, if you appreciate pets, then you're a good person, you know, and you should be treated with respect and not taken advantage of. It's basically what I'm trying to get at, and I'm kind of flubbing it, I think. I think that I think that people that like pets should be given a break. Because it's not like we have to pay these bills. You know, we pay these bills because we love the animals. It's not like it's not, you know, like if you have a child or something like that, and the child gets, I don't know, like a cold or, well, or COVID or something like that, and they have to go to the hospital. You know, for one, it'd be really cruel not to take care of your kid, right? But there's a lot, legally you have to. You know, you actually have to take your kid to the vet. Well, I mean, not the vet, but the hospital or something if they get sick. Um, but in the case of animals and stuff, this is all voluntary. We do this out of the niceness of our heart. We don't have to do it. You know, like, we do it because we care about them. And I feel like, you know, people in that situation should get a break. They really should. Like, I'm nothing if not a pet lover, and I feel like people should be rewarded for that, not penalized, not taken advantage of. There you go. Ralph S. Mouse. I like it. I'm glad you guys like this pizza. It's a lot of fun. You know, I wish I had more time to like actually get some of these details in here. I don't feel like I do. But I am pretty happy with it. I feel like if I took a different route, like if I did this in watercolor or something, and I was just doing the accents, um, like the details and stuff, and like maybe ink or something, it would have gone faster. But I really wanted to work with pencil. It's been a while since I've done pencil. I kind of wanted to have some fun outside of the internet going out on me, which sucks. It always sucks. Um, this has been fun. I do like hanging out with you guys on Tuesdays. It's not quite the middle of the week, but we're getting close to it, and that kind of this kind of like break in the middle of it and stuff is very nice for me. Like I said earlier, you know, this is almost meditative. Whenever you're drawing a picture, and you're just like making these marks and stuff, and a lot of it's like repetitive, like you're just kind of going over the same spot multiple times, trying to get details in there and stuff like that. Your mind just kind of goes to another place. It's just kind of like you literally zone out. Um, that's good. You know, that's good for your brain, probably good for your health. I do a lot of problem solving outside of it, like drawing while I'm drawing, you know. Like, I think about other things that um, I need to think about, and I don't know if I like actually solve any problems and stuff while I'm drawing, but it is a moment of quiet, you know. It is a moment to reflect and ponder other things. All right, so I don't feel like I'm gonna get like a lot of details in this backpack here, but before I have to call it quits, so I'm gonna move up here and kind of get these things done. And then we can kind of call it done, I think. As done as we're going to get it. I think this would be considered like a study of a concept, I guess. Like this is something that probably should be a larger illustration or painting or something of that nature. Or like at least a watercolor picture, you know? Like a watercolor illustration. Like I'm doing it in pencil because I wanted to do something in pencil, but I'm not sure a pencil is the best medium for this. It's fun. It's kind of like if you're sitting around with time to spare and you wanted to create something that's kind of cool and stuff, this would be a good project. But I would actually like to see this in a different medium. I think it would be fun as a watercolor and ink picture. Probably not. Well, I don't know. Pastel might work, but I see this more as a watercolor ink picture. That we can have some fun with. Runaway Ralph. Ralph is a mouse. That's a good name. Um, what was that movie? Stuart Little with Michael J. Fox, little animated mouse. That was a good movie. Alan Kate says, "I like life, and it costs a lot to live these days." Yeah, I like life too, and it's very expensive. I don't like that aspect of it. It's very expensive, and once you think you gotten ahead, you really haven't. It just resets every month. I feel like, and if it's not month for everybody like it is for me, it's yearly or whatever the cycle is. But once you think you've got a handle on it, they move the goalpost. Like just this year, my mortgage has gone up by like $200 a month, and it's like I wasn't as somebody who's a freelance developer who basically like left his corporate job to be his own boss. I'm on a I'm on a bit of a budget, and they changed the budget on me, and it's like that's not right. You would you would hope to get ahead, but whenever I feel like life is just designed this way, and it's not right. It's not cool at all. Whenever you're ahead, something comes along that sets you behind. Like for example, a vet bill. Like you're doing fine, you're happy, you're like, hey, I got a little bit more jingle in my pocket, and then boom, here's a vet bill. That's the way life works. Like starting off the year, I'm like, oh, actually making a little bit more money. This is nice. And then boom, mortgage goes up. That's the way it works. It just sucks. I don't think it's supposed to be like this. I don't think human beings are supposed to struggle as much as we do. I think we're supposed to take joy in little things, like art, music, the quiet moments in life. I think we're supposed to take joy in that, and I do, and I counsel everybody else to do that as well. Like, uh, for me, I enjoy like this weekend, Mother's Day weekend. I went to an art show. That was nice. I went kayaking. None of these are expensive things. Like I don't buy art, right? So I guess it could be kind of expensive if you were like an art shopper. Um, but I don't buy anything. I just go for like these walks and stuff where I'm out enjoying nature while at these art shows outdoors. Um, those are the small things in life that everybody can enjoy. Like I don't care where you are in as far as walks of life. Like you can be a homeless person and still enjoy going for a walk. But yeah, it is challenging sometimes when you're just trying to get by in life and then you get hit with this gigantic vet bill or something like that. It doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem right. Those vets are just overcharging for no reason. It ain't cool. Unfortunately, that's the way life is. So you have to find your pleasures elsewhere. You can easily sell your art talent. You're extremely awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think you're awesome as well. Um, I have some artwork that I'm getting framed that I think I'm going to put up in a coffee shop nearby, and then also I do think that I'm going to try the farmers market. I'm not ready to like actually get a booth at like an art show or anything like that yet. I just want to kind of like put my stuff out there and see what other people like. You guys are awesome. I really like you guys. You guys are great, but I feel like you're biased. Like you watch this stuff, and I can't tell. I can't tell if you like the art or you just like hanging out with me, right? So I like you guys. You guys are great, and everything like that. But I want to get like a second opinion. I want to get like a stranger who is not biased, who's not my friend. I feel like a lot of you guys are like basically my friend. Um, I want a non biased person to chime in and just kind of see where people are at, and see what people think. So I am going to definitely this maybe this spring, but definitely this summer, um, get my art out there in the public. So I've already got the frames lined up. I've already got some venues lined up. I've got the art shop, or like the coffee shop. Yeah, like Kid says, coffee shop finally. Yeah, I've got that all set up. Just got to get my artwork framed, and then we'll see how it goes. All right. So I feel like there's a lot more detail I can get into his outfit, which I was kind of hoping to do. I don't think it's bad. It's just like there's a lot more value that I can get in here, some shadows and stuff like that that'll really make his outfit look like an outfit and not just you know, some sketched in stuff. So I'm gonna work on that probably offline. We are at like yeah, we're at like an hour and 48 minutes, so I'm probably gonna have to call this soon. Probably get some more value up underneath, like some shading underneath his neck, I guess, is what you would call it. Kids like, Jeremy doesn't believe us. He wants a second opinion. Well, like you guys are like very nice. I don't trust nice people. I want like a Gordon Ramsay or a Simon Cowell or somebody who is like just mean. I want a mean person to evaluate my art. Like somebody who's like brutal. You guys are too nice to be real critics. I don't know what I want. I actually want to like somebody in person or something to look at it. I guess we'll see what happens. Alan K says I sent you to my mom, who is an artist and 70 years old, and she likes you. Oh, well, there you go. That's pretty nice. All right, so I'm probably going to work on this a little bit more, like after I hop off here. It is getting kind of late. I know some people have to go to work tomorrow, school, things like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it. Um, is this a bad time for my art major joke? No, it's always a good time for a joke. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call this done enough. Um, like I said, there are some like more shading. And the lighting in here is terrible too. This probably looks a little bit better in person than it does on camera. I got to get some whiskers in. Um, Especially like coming out this side here. But yeah, I like the concept. I like these kind of character driven drawings. I don't do them often enough, and I kind of feel like I should do them more. They're a lot of fun. I'm trying to think how many other pictures I've done that are like in the same vein. Not very many. Um, I do think that next time I tackle something like this, I am probably going to try to paint it instead of draw it. Just because I think that, like in hindsight, this would look really cool in color. It would. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and call this done here. But wait, now I need to hear Larry's joke, Colin. How do you get an art major off your doorstep? This is gonna be good. And Jay says, Jeremy, you've got talent. Have a good night. Thank you so much. Alan K says, but you're not understanding the social media part of your artistic talent. That's a hidden gem. Yeah, I don't know. Most awesome mouse I've seen, but I am biased. See, that's what I'm saying. You guys are biased. That's all I'm saying. You guys are too nice and you're biased. All right, so okay, Larry says, how do you get an art major off your your doorstep? Larry says, pay for the pizza. That's so true too. Yeah. Yeah, historically, the starving artist is a real thing, honestly, and this isn't like a dig at artists or anything like that. If you're a young person and you're looking to get into art as a career and stuff like that, I wholeheartedly applaud that effort. But to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know the least bit about how people make any money as an artist. And I think it's getting more difficult as time goes on, especially with like AI art largely replacing, the stock artists. Um, like I really feel like there's very few avenues left for the artists to like explore. One of them I think is like, just being a traditional artist where you're you're making artwork like this that is tangible, like you can touch it and stuff like that, and there's like real effort put into it. But as far as like having a career as like a graphic artist or any of that kind I have no idea, to be honest. Maybe I'll put some thought into that and we'll have like some discussions about that next time. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I had a lot of fun with this one. It's not quite done. There's like some detail to put in here, some like shadows and stuff like that to develop. But I like the concept. I think that all of the rough stuff is there. So that's kind of cool. Larry says, Jeremy, you're an amazing artist. Great. I get more pizza. Thank you. Um, okay, good night. Yeah. But yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I'm sorry the internet went out. Hopefully, like it looks like most of you guys came back, so I do appreciate it. Alan K says, I don't like you, Jeremy. Haha. Great. Now I finally respect your opinion. Like, you have to like not like me in order for me to respect your opinion about my art. So actually, that's kind of fun because I do think I do think that like I do kind of have that concept of there is a difference between me, Jeremy, my personality, what I do, and my art itself, right? So like, I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome, but I do think that you guys are like, nice to me because you like hanging out with me. That's totally different than is this an actual good piece of art? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not sure that you guys know either. I think that you guys mostly hang out to chat with me, and I appreciate that because like I'm a lonely person. I enjoy it when you guys talk with me. But I would like to put this out there in the public and see what the general public thinks of my doodles. And so we're going to try that. We're going to try that this spring and summer, and I'll report back and let you guys know how it goes. But anyway, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Thank you so much. I'm going to let the dogs out. Hopefully, whoops. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this as much as I do. And I will be back on Thursday. I will try to look into the technical issues of the internet going out and, my obvious like inability to click the right buttons and stuff like that. I will work on that for Thursday. But I will see you guys then. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Have a good one. See ya. Bye.